So take a look up on the left of the screen. You can actually see blue sky up there. That's so typical of the storm, of these snow squalls. You'll get this like almost streamers. So I've been in more than one squall where you'll have like just absolutely clear skies, blue skies, and you just see like clouds ahead. And it just looks like a normal, cloudy, almost like thunderstorms, but much, much lower. So you don't really think too much about it. And then all of a sudden you're right into the middle of the squall. And you can go from, absolutely clear the way it is right now to almost zero visibility in minutes, if not seconds in some cases, depending on how strong the squall is. That's a big problem when you're talking about highways like the 400. Often you'll get the squalls coming across the 400, sort of perpendicular to it. So you really won't have much warning before you're into the squall itself. And if you've got a bunch of people that slam on their brakes or just don't drive well when it comes to snow, you can get these unbelievably large pileups, 50 to 100 cars. It's absolutely incredible sometimes. They're rare, but it does happen. Just one of the things with the squalls, just be aware that that's gonna happen, or that could happen, and that abrupt halt may be one of those things you have to be prepared for. So slowing down gradually, probably a good idea. But really, a lot of it is just being aware of the situation, what's going on, and just being prepared for it. Okay, jumping on Highway 8, and hopefully that will get me up towards Cross Hill a little quicker. So yeah, so this one, as I said, I was taking a look. It's too bad. Oh man, too bad I couldn't turn the camera around because you can really see the edge of the squall. This one's sort of broken up a little bit into multiple different squalls, or multiple different areas of snow coming down. So that gives like you sort of be in and out of the different squalls. Now, when you have like everything oriented properly and perfectly, you'll have a very tight band of snow, and in some cases, these bands can dump 100 centimeters. That's a meter of snow. I've had that happen coming off of Lake Huron. Usually, you need like fairly specific meteorological conditions for that to happen, and that means what you have to have is like just absolutely perfect orientation of all the winds from the surface all the way up through the atmosphere, good and cold, so that air temperature really, really cold, and then it's just got to sort of sit there for a while. So usually the only way that's going to happen is if the low pressure system, the larger overall system, slams up against a really unmoving high pressure system off the Atlantic. And that usually will stall the low pressure system for a while, so it sits in place in one spot over. It doesn't even necessarily need to be over Ontario, but just maybe north of Ontario, so it's still wrapping those cold winds around, and that's when you get the unbelievable snow rates, and you get the if it sticks around for a while, you can get the 100 centimeters or more. I've been in Buffalo a couple times where there's been, like, and the Americans measured a little differently. It was 8 feet of snow in Buffalo, and that's not uncommon for them. So there we go, into the squall a little bit. Now I'm sort of at the north end of I'm not about halfway through Waterloo at this point. And I'm headed up towards, as I said, Cross Hill, which is northwest of Kitchener-Waterloo. So up there, I expect a little bit more snow. I've been hearing from a few people that there's been some big snow type events up there. A little closer to the lakes. It's usually the way where you'll get the better snowfall. Usually, what is interesting as well, you won't get lots and lots of snow right on the edge of the lakes. It actually takes a little while. It takes a few kilometers inland before it really starts to dump that snow. So if you're right on the edge of the water, you might expect to see lots of snow, and it's usually not the way it happens. It's usually inland quite a bit before it really starts to really dump that snow. And that's just because the land doesn't rise that far from, it takes a little while to rise up from the edge of the lake. And that's sort of absolutely critical to get that air rising and to get it going and begin to produce snow. Okay, so here we go. A little bit better snowfall rates now. Let me just zoom the camera a little bit so you can see. It's a little tricky to do sometimes. All right, there we go. So there you go. We're seeing a little bit more snow here, but again, this is more pretty than in any way dangerous. You can see that the ground is absolutely not covered in snow. It's totally clear at this point. Temperature is 1 degree on the car. Car is usually a degree or two, like it's within a degree or two. So I always give it an error bar of about 2 degrees. So if it says 1 degree, it could be I'm guessing anywhere between -1 and 1 is usually the temperature. So yeah, coming into it just on the, as I said, the north end of Kitchener-Waterloo. And according to my Waze, it's going to slow down a little bit up here, and that usually tells me where the snow is, but it's not always perfect. So yeah, it looks like it's actually moving not too bad. But you know, what I like to see is everybody slowing down if they come into these squalls real quick. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I don't want to see everyone screaming right through. Yeah, and there you go. So again, it's gonna be a little difficult to see it, but it's the snow squall, or the snow has really dropped off, and that's very typical of these squalls. You'll get into one area where there's lots of snow coming down, and all of a sudden you'll be into another area where it's barely coming down. These are not like large systems, which, you know, once you get into the big systems, you can drive from Hamilton to downtown Toronto and you'll have snow the entire way. But with these squalls, it could be a couple of kilometers across at the most sometimes. It's kind of amazing how fast these things can change. But if you're not in it, if you're sort of in an area like in the GTA, the GTA rarely sees snow squalls because the winds just won't travel, like the snow won't travel that far. And this is why areas like the snow belts, like Barrie, sees lots and lots of snow, as opposed to the GTA, because they're a little bit closer to the lake, but they're not so close to the lake that they don't see that snow. They're sort of sitting in the sweet spot, as it were. All right, I'm going to make a left-hand turn here and then head towards St. Jacobs, it looks like. So, yep. So, yeah, this is, you know, as I said, this is always interesting to see these squalls. The interesting thing that often happens these days with the snow squalls is they'll keep going. They'll keep going right into like well into late winter. Last year we had snow squalls in March, I believe, some of the last ones I saw, because it really wasn't the lakes that limited it. It was the fact that we just had a general warm up as we came into spring and we stopped seeing snow. That is somewhat unusual because the lakes just didn't freeze over. Now, is that climate change or not? That's of course, that's a big question. If we see a consistent lessening of the amount of ice, which we actually have over a long period of time, then yes, that can be attributed to climate change. But single one-offs from year to year, there usually has more to do with the way the jet stream sits, the way whether we're getting warm air coming up from the south, and sort of how things happen. From month to month. But when you talk about climate change, you really need to sort of look over a long period of time, as opposed to a short, one-off event. And when I say one-off event, I mean even like 1 year. Now there is some strong evidence that absolutely things are changing. Right beside St. Jacobs. If you've ever wanted to come for farmers market in the summertime, this is where to come to. It's always awesome. You get some really cool stuff. Okay, so here we go. So yeah, it's gonna go through one set of lights and then the second set of lights where the SO is. I turn it back up here, and you can kind of see again, it's starting to get a little bit more snow falling. The ground here, it's interesting. The ground is actually a little bit wet, which means that the ground is still fairly warm, even though we're in mid-December. The ground is still warm enough that the snow really is just melting when it hits. Oftentimes you'll see it sort of build up on the grasses first, and on the pavement last. I don't think any of this pavement has been treated, it's possible. But as far as I know, I haven't seen any plows out doing any sort of treatment. Here we go. This is a little bit better. Okay, this is something you always have to watch. Yeah, left-hand turns are never fun. Okay, especially when you get into the snow a little bit. All right, so we're going into a little bit more snowfall now. So this is this is a little bit more closer to the heart of it. Let me check. I'm just going to take a quick check of my radar, and we'll be able to see. Yeah, this is the heaviest snow now, sort of all throughout here, sort of over from Kitchener up to Milverton to Listowel. Those are sort of the heaviest snow. So what you're seeing here is probably as heavy as you're going to get today, which does tell me that these snow squalls aren't that well organized, or at least they've become disorganized as we've gotten sort of into the afternoon. This morning snow squalls down by London, likely much stronger, and just because that little bit more of organization for them. These ones, not too bad. But the idea is just to show everybody what it's like in the squalls. And I always find these squalls absolutely fascinating, just because they're somewhat unique. As I said before, they're somewhat unique to Southern Ontario to have them as strong and as much snow as we have. All right, so now you can see. I don't know, again, it's a little hard to see on the camera, but I can see getting giant snowflakes. Like these are big snowflakes that are falling sort of clumped together, and that usually tells you that it gives you a little bit of an idea of what the atmosphere is doing. And this tells me that there's good. They're growing quite well in the what they call the dendritic growth zone. It's actually where snow becomes snow. So good and moist up there, and staying cool all the way to the surface. So that's when you get some good snow. Yeah, this is interesting. I am seeing a little bit of, now I'm starting to see a little bit of accumulation on the sides of the roads, not on the roads themselves. The roads themselves, usually with those, you'll have enough car traffic sort of going over top of the snow that with snowfall rates like this, that it just melts the snow. So the snow just doesn't build up as quickly on the roads. Whereas if you look on the sides of the roads, you'll see the little bit of white there. These ones I don't expect much. It's just the first time I've been able to get out into the snow for a little while. So for me, this is great. A little bit of fun. Not too dangerous on this. I might jump out and take a quick stop and then run around a little bit and do a little bit for digital and just let everybody know what's going on. All right, we are coming into Heidelberg. Lots of little towns in Southern Ontario. I love it. You have to be very careful. You can actually end up blowing through these towns way too fast. So really slow down here. Yeah, that gives you an idea, at least a little bit of an idea of how much snow is falling. It's not that bad at all. I didn't expect it to be, but it's definitely gotten a little dimmer, and very typical of these snow squalls. Again, fascinating things when it comes to Southern Ontario. One of my professors in my meteorology and my atmospheric science, Professor Mel Prout, always loved to say that in Ontario the weather clears up stormy. And what he meant by that is you get these big systems that go through, and all of a sudden afterwards, once the system goes through, you expect everything to clear up, and that's the way it normally happens. But when it comes to winter storms, it's pulling in all that cold air in behind the storm, and of course you get it blowing across the lakes, and you get snow squalls. It doesn't happen in the summertime, obviously, but if you in the wintertime, you'll get this extra punch of snow afterwards. Oh, here we go. Construction. Oh, I don't envy anybody having to stand outside in the construction right now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull to a halt here. These things happen all the time in Texas and Oklahoma. If I'm down in Storm Chase, down in Tornado Alley, These ones, like this happens all the time. You can only imagine. I mean, this, no big deal. But down in Tornado Alley, if you've got a tornado coming and you've got this, it can be a little bit, well, upsetting is a good way to put it. That snow's not going too bad right now. I might actually pull over. I'm not sure if they're going to let those trucks through, whether I can keep going. We will see in a second. Oh, I guess they're letting the truck through. Yeah, truck's coming through. So I will, well, I've got a second. I'm just going to take this over to here, and you can see a little bit of the snow coming by. And here comes the truck. There we go. Just to give you an idea. No, it's probably going to let me through now, so I don't want to spend too much time. All right. I'll zoom this up a little bit. Let's see, there we go. All right, here we go. I timed that nicely. I'm not sure what they're doing there. There we go, and we're past. Yeah, I don't envy them standing outside in this. I've had to stand outside a couple times in the cold while I'm, doing the live hits and stuff. And you stand out there for a couple hours, you can get really, really cold, like really cold. If you're running around, it's not so bad. But if you're standing there, it gets super bloody cold. So that's why I often wear like parkas. People are like, why are you wearing so much stuff? Because I have to stand around for 3 hours. Oy. All right. There we go. Oops. Going a little faster. Yeah, this is probably sort of the worst that this is going to be today. Just because this system is a little, like the winds are a little bit disorganized. They're not doing exactly the right thing to kick off solid squalls. But this isn't too bad right now. Again, there's some big flakes falling. The ground is definitely wet. Now seeing some buildup on the sides of the roads. This is nothing compared to what some of the big squalls can do when they really, really, really get going. But those big squalls tend to be very isolated. These ones, like this one's today, can be a little bit more expansive. So it hits a little bit of a larger area, but it definitely is not hitting with tremendous amounts of snow, and nor did we expect it to. So this was just sort of come out, check it out, see how much snow we're getting in some of these squalls, and see how the winter is progressing. And the winter is beginning now. Finally, but yeah, still don't necessarily want to have to deal with more snow squalls. Sorry, I'm just gonna be careful here. Not sure if I'm in a 50. Yeah, I'm in a 50 zone. So yeah, that's, I'm going to take a quick check of the radar, but I'm willing to bet I'm sort of coming out to the other side of the squall. Oh no, there's still some more. All right, no, there's still more, quite a bit more snow up towards Linwood and Miller. So it's still sort of to my northwest at this point. But oftentimes when you get into the towns, you don't see that. Amazing, like the buildings will essentially stop the winds, so you're not getting the winds howling across the fields like this. So quite often you run into the issue. You'll be driving along here like this, and you sort of get used to the snow, and you'll hit a forested area on upwind, and the snow, it won't be snowing as much. And then as soon as you pass that, suddenly you're bang right back into the whiteout conditions. I'm not worried about that today. We just don't have things going quite that good, and I'm hoping we get at least one, and I can show you why they close the roads where they do, and there's a good reason for it. A lot of these squalls happen at night, so we're getting a little bit of a chance to see it during the day. Just to give you an idea, even this at night can be problematic. I've been running more than once late at night, trying to get back from somewhere from the squalls and having to go through them. It takes forever because you cannot see anything. Here we go. Yeah, according to my radar, I'm going to be coming back into a little bit of snow. But as I said, I think we've seen sort of the strongest it's going to get. So you might have a little bit more here and there, but I think you got a pretty good idea of what's happening with these squalls. Just run my windshield wipers a little bit. But yeah, if you're out, if you have to be out in the country because you're traveling, who knows, you're traveling up to Kincardine or going over to Goderich for whatever reason, and you are going to end up, potentially going through these squalls, be prepared. Throw in an extra jacket, throw in some extra water, food, what have you, like snacks, I mean. And just because you could get into conditions, and I have been in it more than once, where I literally cannot see the end of the hood. Those are true whiteout conditions. And you, at that point, about the only thing you can do is find a safe spot to pull over and wait. There will be, Southern Ontario is populated enough, we don't have to worry too much about being, absolutely stranded for weeks on end. So the advice that I give is stay with your car. Don't leave it running the entire time. Turn it on, turn it off. Leave it on for about 10 minutes to warm things up, and then turn it off again. If you're stuck waiting for it. Now, again, keep in mind squalls tend to move a little bit, so you're not necessarily going to be in the worst of it for a very, very long period of time. What you might end up having happen, though, is you get snow on the roads to the point that you can't drive through it. That's when you're sort of, then you're stuck, sort of sitting there. But, there will be somebody that comes by at some point. So again, you're best to stay in your car. You can get lost so easily if you're walking around in the squalls and trying to sort of get out of the car and try to find shelter. That should be like a last resort kind of thing. Just because if you're in your car, you're at least in shelter and you can be found a lot easier than you can walking across a field in the middle of nowhere. That's super dangerous. That's why I always recommend you stay with your car unless there's other issues. If you're got an offer from like the guy in front of me, the fire, to go with them, go with them. Any of the authorities will get you somewhere. Last year with Fort Erie, a lot of cars got stuck on the QEW. People were going by on snowmobiles. Again, that's a really good one. Jump in with the guys with snowmobiles. They'll help you out, get you to shelter, so you don't have to stay in the car. But if you don't have anybody around, staying in the car is a good idea, especially if you have water and food and extra blankets or at least extra coats or something like that. I always carry there's a ton of gear in the back of the car that I change up for whatever season I happen to be in. All right, so we got a little bit more squalls here. Now, where am I? I am near, I'm near Wellesley. I'm in Cross Hill. This is where actually I was aiming for, was Cross Hill. So I might stick here for a few minutes just to check things out. Because this is where the snow was hitting hardest a little while ago when I started out. Looks like it's not quite as strong at this point, but it's definitely not as bad as some of the really big squalls that I've seen. So I'm gonna make a right here. Oh, right behind. I'm gonna follow the fire truck here. I don't know where he's going. Oh yeah, that's actually not too bad. It's pretty good. Looking south a little bit, can't see too far. Oh yeah, there we go. So we're getting a little bit of snow here. That's actually giving us a little bit of not whiteout, but at least a little bit better than it was earlier. Okay, now I just need a spot to stop. This actually might not be a bit too bad a spot right here. Ooh, I know where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go down the road here. Woo! Here we go. Just want to make sure I'm out of everybody's way, and then see if I can get a little bit of just a little bit of. See, there's hills to the one side. Oh yeah, not too bad. Again, nothing spectacular. Whoops, hold on. Nothing tremendously spectacular on this one, but still very cool to be out and about to sort of see the beginnings of the snow squall season. All right. I am going to jump out and talk to Hyper Digital just for a second. Oh yeah, now look at the. Here, what I'm going to show you, one of the things I'm looking at, which is kind of cool. You can actually see the radar just a little bit here, and okay. So I can get this to work. Yeah, definitely not wanting to autofocus. Yeah, anyway, a little bit hard to see. See if I can get this to work. Put it down on my lap there. Oh no, of course. Nothing is ever easy. You can actually see right there. Well, again, it does not want to focus on that. But I want to show you a little bit some of the programs that I use. You can actually see, again, it's a little bit difficult to see there, but there's a little a dot on there, and that's where I am, and you can kind of see sort of in the center there, the green, that's the squall itself. And let me just see if I can just change things up a little bit here. There we go. Yeah, again, so yeah, focus is having a lot of trouble. So what I'll do is I'll show you the snow itself. Again, very nice. It's very pretty. It's definitely not, full on dangerous squalls to the point you're getting full whiteout conditions. If we look forward, though, you can kind of see down the road there, just a little bit of squall action happening. A little bit of snow. You can see some of the snow landing, sticking on the roads. But nothing too serious at this point. So just kind of fun to check out and see what it's like out in the squalls today. Oh wow, yeah. Now I have to close the window. See, I left the window open. It's just not a good idea. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to jump out, do a little bit. Ooh, stinky. I'm doing a little bit of a live drive today on my way from Guelph out to Cross Hill, which is northwest of Kitchener-Waterloo. Check out the snow squalls. Not bad. The ground is still fairly warm, so most of the paved roads that I was on, no problems. But when you get into a little bit heavier snow and some of the dirt roads, you'll actually see a little bit of accumulation. You can see right here, there's a little bit of accumulation there. Nothing too much. Very cold snow. It's not packing snow. Definitely very, very cold at this point. But when it's on the ground, as I said, if you look there, it's completely melting. So really not worried too much about major accumulations on the roads, unless these ones lock into place. And I don't think they are. But either way, if you are traveling through those traditional snow belt areas, just be prepared. You might have a little bit of a slowdown, but it shouldn't be too bad for you. Okay, there we go. Back in the car. Woo! Brr. Oh, got the fleece on, but man, that wind just cuts right through it. That is why I have all my other gear on the back, which I'm not going to need right now. So yeah, so get an idea. At least I got an idea of the how the squalls are, and what it's like out in the middle of them today. Nothing too significant. But still kind of interesting to come out and check them out. So I'll probably be headed back towards home. Now at this point, I'll leave the stream up and running, but I probably won't be babbling on and on about things. But thank you if you were listening to me babble on and on. It was kind of fun to to do, and to at least get a chance to check out the first squalls of the season. That is going to change as we get into a little bit more into the winter season. Last year we had significant squalls by this point, and some serious situations in and around Buffalo, etc. We're not seeing that this year. A little bit warmer this year, and looks like most of the actual storm systems are tracking along the U.S. and Canadian East Coast, as opposed to coming in from essentially from Texas and from Colorado. So I'm going to shut things off, or at least shut off the sound for now, and as I said, I'll probably be headed back towards home.